Recently, I attended Ann Kohlberg's Colored Pencil and Canyon's art retreat. Was it worth it? I had these worrying thoughts leading up to the art retreat. Am I going to learn something valuable that I will use in future projects? Am I going to waste my money and time? Should I just learn these skills online? Am I going to connect and network with other artists? And after attending, I can honestly say a resounding yes to all these questions I had. It was extremely helpful having a teacher in person go step by step through the process of these colored pencil pieces. They could point specific problems out in your work. You can collaborate and compare with other classmates and learn something new. Every single person had a different art style, which was awesome to see. It was very inspiring being around other artists, especially colored pencil artists. It made me want to check out their work, share my work. I've never met any other colored pencil artists until this trip. Until this, I've only experienced learning through online, and it has felt quite isolating and alone till now. So if you get the chance to experience an in-person class, don't be shy and just attend at least one. Now, what kind of methods did we learn on this trip, and what did we do in the days around the trip? Because this was a 3-day class over the course of 5 days, and it wasn't just straight colored pencil learning all the way through, though I wouldn't have minded that. One side note I will mention before moving on is that my girlfriend and I stuck out like a sore thumb in this class. My girlfriend didn't attend the class, she was a +1 and did all the side activities with me, but we arrived on day 1, the day before the first class, at a meet and greet, and we are the only people under the age of 60 there. Okay, there was one other lady 30 years old and another 40-ish, I believe, but we kind of worried that maybe the older folk would be distant from us, but the reality is with older folk, when you get talking to them, they really don't give a shit. And we were around like-minded artists. We just wanted to talk about art and the classes. So, the first class on day 2 was with Andrea Burchett with the Sunny Ravines piece. We primarily used Prismacolors, a couple of polychromos, and a couple of Verithin, plus a black pen for hard dark lines. We worked on a really interesting paper called Terra Slate. It's typically used for menus, and it's very durable. It's waterproof, and Andy, the teach, mentioned you could technically heat up the paper with a hot pad. The wax pencils can get interesting mixing results from doing so. Sounds awesome and terrifying at the same time. I will have to do a small piece at some point and give that a try. You can only do like 3 to 4 layers max on this paper before the pencils start to rip through it. I apparently found out that I have an extremely light hand when drawing, so I'm able to get a few extra layers on. I found this paper very fun to work with, and it's definitely the type where whatever you put down is staying, so you need to be confident with your marks. Some people struggled in class with this part of it. I wasn't doing the best job ever, but because I mess up marks in my own art a lot, I'm the type of person to take a punch to my face and work with the mistakes. And the people that struggled honestly had amazing work, they were just overthinking. Funny moments during this day is that Andy had other people transfer lines to the paper previously, and a bunch of the lines that transferred over were not accurate to the reference photo, and they were very dark purple lines. So we had to work with what we got. But just hearing people grumbling all around me under their breath about it was hilarious. God, what in the world? How am I supposed to work with this? And especially after taking lunch, we came back and everyone was so grumpy. The teacher was like, "How's everyone doing?" And someone was like, "It's supposed to be nap time right now." And everyone giggled in agreement. Yeah, it's supposed to be nap time. And it being grumpy hour made some people even more unhappy about the transfer lines. Again, I was just working with what I got, so I didn't mind too much. But the most egregious part was near the center. The lines made no sense whatsoever, and that's where it was supposed to be very bright. I couldn't get rid of the lines, so they are part of my drawing. I actually don't mind them, and the only tool that I forgot to purchase was this Euro tool typically used for jewelry. It was very scratchy and would have helped me remove the lines if I got it. After class, we carpooled to Snow Canyon, did some walking, minor hiking, and sightseeing. Very beautiful. Overall, great second day, paper that could be quick to get a piece down and a really interesting one to master. It feels like a little postcard when done. Day 3, we learned to draw sunbeams in the shadows by Amy Lindenberger. Same pencils, mostly Prismas, some poly, couple of Verithin, and this piece was done on black paper. There are a couple of options and one to avoid, but the paper I got is Fabriano Black. It's a flip-up style, and the papers are super easy to remove when you're finished. This is a great paper, highly recommend. I would say that out of the 3 classes, this was the easiest to grasp once you understood the few tricks to work on dark paper. Like, the first half of class was just working with the white pencil and making some sections with only white brighter and darker, and then adding color pencil on top of that. Not only that, but you have to test pencils and see which ones show up on the black paper properly. And Amy, the teacher, gave us this amazing list of which Prismas do and don't show up best on black paper. Now, that doesn't mean you can't use these on the right, you just need to use those in the range that they work in. This piece was very much putting in the building blocks on paper and then adding the color on top. Even though this was unfamiliar territory, it really didn't seem difficult for me to grasp. I literally struggled for one small thing, which was gradating from the color to black, but Amy just showed me for 2 seconds on my paper to put in straight strokes from the color to black. Yeah, I must have just been having a moment. A lot of people made it very clear that today was easier to grasp for them, that they enjoyed it more than the previous day, and that's just the thing about older folk, they just state their opinion without giving a fuck. I've never worked on black paper before, other than a 1" by 1" doodle. You're able to get this deep, ghostly depth writing to the background, which was perfect for this piece as the reference photo was taken in the Grafton ghost town. The black depth writing into the background reminds me of the old Tomb Raider games. When you're looking off in the distance, you can't see past the black haze because of the hardware limitations of the time, and it accidentally creates this mysterious and foreboding atmosphere. So I'm going to love implementing that idea into some pieces. I enjoyed first class and second class days equally. They were both fun, although the piece on the terrace slate paper was more intriguing for me, like there's more to find out and explore there technique-wise. After class, we went to Ann Kohlberg's suite for snacks and wine, which was hilarious watching Ann walk up to everyone and kept pouring wine. And some of them put their hands over their glass and was like, "No more, Ann, no more!" And Ann was like, "What?" Not that everyone was blazing drunk or anything, especially because we all traveled to a Mexican diner right after. I do want to mention that all of these side activities were completely optional, but I do find it a great way to mingle with the other artists. The 4th day was a non-art day. We traveled on a bus to Bryce Canyon. It was a good day to connect and socialize with other artists while also seeing the sights. The 5th and final day held one last class, taught by Pearl Day Shalane. We learned how to make this piece, Buzzing Beauty. Before class, Pearl had us transfer the drawing ourselves, so that we could hit the ground running right as we entered class. She made a video showing us how to transfer the lines using pan pastel, mixing white with a touch of black, and then putting over it with a ballpoint pen. This piece took the most work and time to complete. What Pearl did at the start of the class was have us quickly go through steps on how to complete a flower and a few of the stubs before doing anything with the bee. She was clear and snappy, not in a rude way, like, "Chop chop, come on everybody, any questions? This is what you're doing, now do it." She said something like, "You're not here to judge your own art, that is for others to do." We did this step first because she didn't want us to head dive into the bee and metaphorically drown in the process. Now, even though this piece took the longest to complete, it's one of the fastest you can start because we learned how to place a base layer of pastel with carbothellos and pan pastels before adding additional layers and details with our Prismas. So we quickly create these flowers and move on to the bee. And this bee is very fun to work with every step of the way. I see why you'd put the pastels down first. Only one layer too, because it creates a dense, saturated layer to work with. This paper allows you to add in a lot more layers than the previous 2 papers. It's like a really fine sandpaper, and it's the type where you want to scummel additional layers rather than adding more pressure when trying to saturate or add more contrast. Just look at the bee leg here. I pretty much left it alone, and the black stayed through very well, and the glow around the bee is successful because of the base white pastel. I remember walking around class. This one gentleman had a strong hand with very confident lines, and there were fewer of them, which is exactly opposite of me. I have light, tottery lines, but smooth blends, and I layer a lot of them. Just seeing different styles was so cool, and it actually made it possible to put my style into words, which was enlightening. Had a lot of fun with this one, it turned out beautiful, and while I'm sure others have their favorites, it would be impossible for me personally to rank any of the 3 classes, because I had so much fun while learning and finishing the pieces at home, and I'm absolutely implementing them all into future projects. In fact, I'm going to be using all 3 for the videos after my Shapeshifting Violator video comes out, which only uses one type of paper. You should see that in a couple of days. Subscribe! The end of the day ended with us getting together and presenting our Sayonara fans. We each walked up and presented our fans while the 3 teachers scored and judged them. They judged on the art and how well you sold or presented your story. I had this idea for a crazy cyberpunk and nature inspired fan, but I had 0 time in the months leading up to the retreat because of working with my other projects. Some people had the most amazing art fans I've ever seen. Some people didn't really have good fans, but their stories were so hilarious and over the top that they got great scores because of it. The fan I made was something I did with my girlfriend. I do this thing with my family once in a while. While we watch movies, we will pass a paper back and forth and doodle crazy shit on it. So a couple of days before in the hotel room, that's what my girlfriend and I did, and then I origami folded it into a fan. I was a nervous wreck standing in front of everybody, so I wasn't able to sell my fan at all, just literally said what I did and show it to them. We said our goodbyes, and that was it. We all went back to our hotel rooms to leave the next day, and the others left that day. My girlfriend and I took full advantage of being in St. George. The day before the classes, the days in between, and the days after, we went on so many hikes. 20 miles totaled in 7 days, which is a lot for us. We hiked in Escalante, we hiked in Zions, we hiked through a river to get to a freaking waterfall. So if you do decide to go on one of these retreats, if you can, take full advantage of the areas around you, or just keep it cheap and attend the classes. Highly recommend attending any colored pencil retreats that Ann Kohlberg will be hosting in the future. She's an energetic and fun person and an amazing artist herself. I found it very valuable talking to other artists, even ones that are a couple of generations apart. You will always find something to relate to if you're just willing to talk. Sometimes you gotta take the bull by the horns and don't be a pussy and get talking. I feel like my art skills, confidence, and inspiration jumped from here to here. I will absolutely be attending another year in the future. My biggest and most intensive art project yet is going to be uploaded in a few days, so it would mean the world to me if you can subscribe and turn on notifications. It's surreal and strange, and I've tried to push the horror elements to the next level. I spent 180 hours total on all of the illustrations. That's not including the writing, music, and narration plus editing. Let me know if you have questions in the comments about the trip or just about anything. I will answer all of them. Thank you so much for watching. That'll be everything. Oxmodu out! Was that good?